The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone.
We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. We're not going to let the cure be worse than the problem.
The time has now come for us all to do more. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
We'll make a decision as to which way we want to go, where we want to go, the timing, and essentially we're referring to the timing of the opening, essentially the opening of our country.
If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings.
You have almost 160 million jobs in this country now, the most ever, by far the most ever. The number of jobs, almost 160 million. So we can't turn that off and think it's going to be wonderful.
As President Trump signals his desire to ease up on restrictions, Boris Johnson just announced new strict measures in the UK.
You know, it's so amazing, Mika, the contrast between the president's words and Boris Johnson's words. Of course, the Texas lieutenant governor now is getting in trouble for suggesting that grandparents would be willing to die so the economy could get moving again. Larry Kudlow's talking about tough choices that need to be made. Stephen Moore basically says tragedies happen. I mean, you actually are having people that are suggesting, we're going to have to let a lot of people die in order to get this economy moving again. This is, I don't know, is this what these same people were calling death panels back 5, 10, 15 years ago? It's really
the contrast is also
grim that this argument is making its way into the mainstream of the Republican Party now, that the Republican Party now, the mainstream of the Republican Party is suggesting that we're just going to have to let people die, is what they're saying, to get the economy going again. The lieutenant governor suggesting that grandparents would be willing to die for their grandchildren so our GDP would be a little higher.
The president was making those statements and also joking during this news conference yesterday as we've hit 500 in terms of the deaths here in the U.S. Joining us from London, NBC News senior international correspondent Keir Simmons. Keir, what is the latest there following the Prime Minister's announcement? And also, we know there's breaking news just moments ago on the Olympics.
Yeah, that's right. More news that is likely to have a big effect on the world economy. The announcement that the Olympics will be delayed till 2021. The IOC and the Japanese Prime Minister Abe just announcing that, guys, in the past few minutes. You know, I've got to say, the Prime Minister here in the UK, Boris Johnson, had to be pushed, honestly, to get to the point of that lockdown that you just played. And look at the effect. This is Notting Hill. You remember from the scenes in that famous movie how bustling this area would normally be. And look at it now. But from mainland Europe, we are hearing two messages, honestly. One is just how devastating this thing can be if you don't get the lockdown in place early enough, comprehensively enough, and another, a piece of good news out of Italy suggesting that these lockdowns do have a real impact.
Britain has never seen anything like it in peacetime. Until this year, no living European leader had to make such an address. But on Monday, the British Prime Minister announcing a nationwide lockdown.
We'll stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding people you live with, and will stop all social events, including weddings, baptisms and other ceremonies, but excluding funerals.
France's national quarantine now in week 2. The government this morning empowered to extend the restrictions for 2 months. In Paris, the Lippert family, originally from Boston, are keeping a video diary.
I took our dog Pepper out on a walk the other night at like 11:30, and it was just completely silent. It was weird.
You tried to go running last night.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't dodging anyone, so that was nice, but yeah, no, it was creepy. It was spooky.
And as airlines ground their fleets, the State Department says more than 13,000 Americans have asked for help getting home. From Italy, maybe, just maybe, signs these draconian measures do work. Another decrease in deaths and infections. And in the Chinese city of Wuhan, where the virus started, officials announcing many restrictions will be lifted in early April. But globally, cases are soaring. From India, with a population of over 1 billion people, to Egypt, where they're disinfecting the world-famous Egyptian Museum. Israel's first fatality, Eri Even, an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor. In this Spanish hospital, the halls lined with the sick, some lying on the floor, and everywhere the eerie sound of patients coughing. The calling card of coronavirus.
And you know, guys, for those on both sides of the Atlantic who are struggling with this this isolation, this here in the UK now, nationwide isolation, let me just show you this. This is a message that around 1 million British people with underlying conditions received in the past few days. It tells those people to stay indoors for 12 weeks, even to distance themselves from other people in their own homes, guys. The suffering for those folks is intense.
All right, NBC's Keir Simmons from London, thank you so much and stay safe. We greatly appreciate it. Mika, again, Keir was showing horrifying images coming out of Spanish hospitals. We've seen it out of Italian hospitals. And again, here's the thing. This is all predictable. It's all coming our way. You can actually look and see the 3 weeks. There's 2 to 3 weeks at what's happening today is a result of what happened 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And so for people to be talking about, again, reopening the economy, saying that grandparents would be willing to get the coronavirus, I mean, we don't know how widespread this is going to be yet. You know why? Because the line of infections in the United States is going straight up. Well, not only are we not bending the curve, we're not slowing down the explosion. And I've said it before, probably by the end of this week or early next week, we're going to have more infections in the United States of America than they ever had in China, Italy, Spain, all these other countries who are experiencing such a horrible outcome because, you know, guess what politicians were doing in Italy 2-3 weeks ago? Telling people to go out, saying drink, go out, party, go to dinner, just ignore this. You know, it's nothing that serious. Come on. And here we are. We now see the impact in Italy. We see the impact in Spain. God help us if we have to see the impact in the United States of America.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.